Hey everyone, welcome back. In this lesson, we are going to look into the framework that we are going to follow in the project. In the previous lessons, hope you have understand the basics of the Django. Now we are going to look into the framework that we are going to follow in this project. Django is popularly referred as MVT framework, also known as models, views, and templates. Models is referred as a database, views is referred as bridge between models and templates, and template is a front-end part. In a simple, what we are going to do is that user enters the input from the template, example images, and in the views we'll do some processing, and from views we are updating or requesting some data to the models, and from models we are getting some data, and that data is going to be displayed in templates via views. Views help us to display the data in the appropriate template. In simple, this is what MVT framework. And what you're going to follow in this course is MVT plus machine learning framework. Framework is almost similar, but what we add here is machine learning. So let me explain this. From template, we are getting the input from the user, and from views, we are updating that image into the models, which is a database. And from database, we extract the data and do the data pre-processing, which we did exactly in the machine learning process and the data pre-processing. And once we extract the features, and that is going to pass to our machine learning model. And here, this machine learning model is going to give the output of face detection, face identity, and facial emotion. That information is going to pass to the views, and from views we are displaying that information into the respective template or HTML. This is what MVT plus machine learning framework we are going to follow. I will see in the next lecture on how to develop MVT plus machine learning framework in Django. Until then, happy learning. Hey everyone, welcome back. Now in this lesson we are going to start our Django project. The main idea of the Django project is to create an MVT framework, means models, view, templates. Template is refers to our HTML, and models is referred to the database, and the views is basically referred to the processing some data and also displaying the data to the respective template. Here what exactly I'm doing is that I'm keeping in mind that user uploads an image, means user enters some input that is a data or which is an image, and that image comes to the views, and from views I need to save that image into my models in the sense it is need to be saved in my database. The first and foremost thing what I need to do is that I need to create the database. So once I define the database, and the rest of the process is quite easy. This step, whatever we are doing, is quite complicated. I request you to please be an extreme cautious, otherwise it leads to a lot of errors. If you got any kind of errors, do not hesitate to post your error in Q&A form, and I'm going to be refer your code and suggest you such a way that the error is going to be solved. Okay, let's get started now. The first and foremost thing what we need to do is that we need to go to the apps folder. In the apps folder, just go to my models.py. This models.py refers to the database. Let me create the database now. All the database in the Django is written in the object-oriented language. So let us create a class, and the name of the database I want to create is face recognition. And now inside that, let me give some inheritance, which is models.model. Now let me define the attribute that should be there in my database. The first thing I just want to keep in mind is that obviously the image attribute should be there, that is the file attribute should be there, since the user uploads the data and that need to be saved in my models. So that is the one attribute, and the next attribute I just also want to define the primary key for that file and also the date and time of that file. So let me create the ID equal to models.autofill and specify primary key equal to true. So I'm specifying that is ID is a primary key. And next is record date equal to models.datetime field. It's a models dot date time field. Now here let me set auto now add to true. What it will do is automatically it will add the date and time once the entry is found. And next attribute is image. That's going to be equal to models dot, we have a special field called image field. Let me take this image field and now specify where exactly I want to upload my image. For timing, let me specify upload to _2 equal to some images folder. I'll come back to this. What is my images folder? Let me define the images folder later on. For timing, let me set this to images folder. That's it. So these are all the three fields are required. One is ID, record date, and image. And let me also define the name of the record, which is def __ str. Now self. Inside that, let me return string. And what I want to define here is self dot. I just want to display everything with my record date. That's it. So with that, my database is ready. The next step, what I want to do is that let's go to my admin.py. In admins.py, what are the models is created? We need to register here. So let's import this face recognition model. So from app.models import face recognition. So let me define the exact name, face recognition. Now let us register our model. For that, admin.site.register, and what I want to register is face recognition. Copy and paste it here. Okay, so with that, what we have done is that we have successfully registered our face recognition. Done. Now let's go to my models.py. So here I define everything except my images folder. Let's look into this images folder here. Remember, what are the image or what are the file that was uploaded by the user, that generally will define some separate folder where we'll store all this information. So that is called media. So now in the face recognition project, just like static and template, let me create one more folder, name it as media. Okay, so now right click, create a folder, name media. And inside this media, let me create one more folder, and the name of the folder this time I want to create is images. Okay, this is how I created the images. So now I'm saying that what are the images folder I'm specifying here? I'm referring to this media/images, and this I need to specify in settings.py. So let's go to my settings.py and also define the media.directory just like we defined the static and templates. Okay, let's define this media_dir equal to os.path.join, and my base directory is base directory, and the name of the folder is it is media. Done. Now scroll down. Immediately after the static, let me create my media. So here, just like that, we have created a static directory and the static URL. Similarly, we also create the static root, media root, and media URL. Media root equal to, basically I'm referring to the folder name, which is media_dir. And similar to the static URL, let me also create the media_URL and name it as media/. That's it. So this is how we need to define that in statics.py. Since media is not actually there by default, we also need to define this URL in the urls.py. Let's go to my urls.py, and here what I will do, I will also set some URL patterns for my media URL. Since I'm working in this project, I really don't require all these things. So let me remove my path, second, and another URL. Let me put this index, and because I'm going to use this. Here what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add the media root and media directory here. So let's import those settings from settings Django. From django.conf import settings, and also from django.conf.urls.static import static. Now let us append my static in the URLs pattern. Let's put plus, which is a concatenating. Now add static, and here I just want to specify the two things. One is media URL and second one is media root. So let me specify the media URL. That is from settings dot, and the media URL is there in the settings.py, and settings dot the media URL is in the media URL. Let me specify that media underscore URL. And next one, I need to specify the document root. Means document in the sense it is basically referred to the folder, to which folder I just want to save. So that is information also need to be specified here. So document underscore root equal to settings dot, and what I'm referring to this is media underscore root. Let me define that. Media underscore root. So that's it. So this is how I can define my urls.py. Now I'm done with all the settings in the settings.py on urls. And also we registered in the admin.py, and everything is being done now. The next step what we need to do is that we need to migrate this all the operations what we did. So now let's open the terminal and also open your virtual environment. Make sure you navigate to the appropriate folder. Now type python manage.py, and here you need to do is migrate. Execute it. Done. I done the migration process. The next one is that we need to do the make migration. For that, python manage.py make migrations. Execute it. So no changes is been detected here. So migrations are successful. And next step is again, let's do the migrate again. Python manage.py migrate. So okay, all the operations are migrated like admin, authentications, content.py and sessions all has been migrated successfully. Now next what we will do is that let's create a super user for admin access. So in order to create a super user, type python manage.py create. Okay, let's create this. Let's create a super user. Python manage.py create super user. Now it's asking you for the super user. By default it gives you whatever the name you have. By default the name is given Shrikant. I just want to change that into data science, and the email address is datascienceanywhere@gmail.com, and the password it's asking, I just want to create some simple password. Let me name it as something and something. Okay, since the password is too small, anyway, let me put Y, and done. So now we have successfully created our super user. Now let's open our Django app and let's look into the database what we have created. For that, python manage.py run server. Execute it. We have no errors and no warnings, something like migrations, because we already did the migration process now. Let's go to your browser and type the following URL: 127.0.0.8000, and this is my home page, hello world. Let's create the admin dashboard, which is by using the following URL admin. And this is the admin dashboard, and is asking for the username and password. Whatever the username you have created, please use the following. In my case, it is data science, and the password is something. Now log in into that. Awesome, right? We have successfully entered into your Django administration, and here you can see the authentications like user. My username is data science. Okay, now let's look into the database what we have created. That is in the apps section. In apps, we have the face recognition, which is what we have created. Let's click on that. As you can see, since there is no data is being there, that's the reason we can see the face recognition is empty. If at all you want to add any information here, you can check the add and the choose file. Obviously it is asking you for the choose file since it is an image file, and choose what are the file you want. Let me choose this Salman Khan and Amir Khan and open, and you can click on save. As soon as you can click on save, you can check that date at which it is been added, and that is also displayed here. If you click on this, and you can see that images in the images folder, and it is a Salman Khan and Amir Khan, something like this. And even you can see it is automatically gets uploaded in your respective folder that you specify in the media. For example, let me go back to my respective folder. There you can see my media folder here, and in here you can see the images folder. Inside that you can see the Salman Khan and Amir Khan. So what are the data I have created that is successfully saved in my images folder? That is what the power of the models view template. That's the power of Django, and it is a quite simple process. With a small number of steps we can really able to create the database, and that is being saved successfully in a nice and wonderful way. I will see more about views and template in the next lecture. Until then, happy learning. Hey everyone, welcome back. In the previous lesson, we have seen how to create the models, and also we have seen how to do the necessary settings in settings.py, urls.py, and admin.py. And also we have seen how to do the migrations and creating the super user. And also in the previous lesson, we have seen the database. We have seen a table that whatever we created in the Django administration. And this is the table we have seen. And also I shown you how to upload the data manually. Now in this lesson, what you're going to do is that we are going to give the connections to the templates, views, and models. Let's go to the code and let's write some interesting stuff. Alright, now we are in the Visual Studio Code. Here what I want to do is that I just want to give the connection to the models to views.py, and from views.py I just want to upload the data into my index.html. These three are the very important files for our case: models, view, and template. In order to display any information from the models to index, the intermediary part is views. So what I'm going to do here is that what are the form which I created in the models.py, and that information need to be put in my templates.html. In that case, I just want to create one more thing, that is forms.py. And let's create the forms.py, and from forms.py, let's send it to the views, and from views, we will send it to the index.html. Now let's create the forms.py in the app folder. In the app folder, create a new file, name it as forms.py. Now we are going to create the form here. For that, we need to import forms from Django. From Django, import forms. Also, I just want to import face recognition from the models. From models, okay, it is actually apps.models, import face recognition. So this is what my actual table. And let me take this table, and now you need this table. Let me take the attributes that are important for me. Okay, let us create the form first. Class, and the name of the form that I want to create is face recognition form, and provide the inheritance, which is forms.model form. Now specify the metadata. Class is equal to meta, and form equal to face recognition. This is what actually form. Let me take the fields. Now fields equal to, take the field which is image, and this is the name of the field, that is what my image. Now save it. Okay, we successfully created the forms now, and the next step what we need to do is that we need to load this form in my views.py. Let's do it. From app.forms, import the form which is face recognition form. Let's do this. Now what I want to do here is that I don't require anymore this HTTP response. Let me delete this, and let me rename this index2 to index, and here I just want to work on my index.html. In order to send any data from this index.html, what we have to do is that we need to write everything in the views. There is one more attribute is context is there. Context is actually the information, whatever you want to send to the HTML, we'll put everything in this context. Since I just want to send the forms information to my HTML, so let's take this form equal to face recognition form, and this is what the form I'm having with me, and I just want to send this to my index.html. In order to send this in the index.html, you need to create a dictionary and specify the key, which is form, and the value is form. So that's it. So this is how, like, you can send any information from views to index.html. All right, now let us receive this information in the index.html. So now we are in the index.html, and let's do some small changes in this index.html. And in the previous lesson, I think we did some changes here. I think we don't require anymore all these things. Let me remove all the unwanted stuff that was there here. For time being, let me put the face recognition, and after that we will do some changes in the bootstrap. Okay, the first and foremost thing what I want to do here is I just want to create the form here. Form, and the action is, for time being, let me put hashtag. Now the method I just want to allow is post. Next one is encryption type is multi-part form data. That's it. Next, what I want to do is that I just want to create the form. You really no need to create any kind of form here. Views will actually take care of everything. So what we will do is that just specify the key and what type of type you want. Okay, let me use a Django template engine format, which is the double curly braces and forms dot change as type to as table. That's it. So this is what is going to be displayed as a table. Okay, because what is this forms? This form is actually extracted from this forms key, and that thing I just want to display in the table format. And make sure whenever you are using the forms, you have to specify CSRF tokens. Now let me provide the CSRF tokens. Okay, CSRF underscore tokens. That's it. So with that, my index.html is ready, and now I can able to get the connections from index.html to views.py, from views.py to forms, and from forms to models. So this is how the flow is going to do. Let's run this Django and look from the browser perspective. Okay, open your terminal now. Okay, here my app is running. Let me open my browser. I'm in my browser. Now go to my home page. I got an error saying that model form has no models class specified. This usually occurs in the forms.py. Let's go back to my forms.py and let's see. Oh, this is not form, this is my model. Let me specify the model equal to face recognition. I just want to specify that as model, not a form. Please rectify this. Now let me rerun my application. Okay, my app is running now. Let's go back to my browser and refresh it. Perfect. Now we got this welcome to face recognition, and we got the image field and choose a file and so on. Let me choose a file, and this time I'm going to specify another image. Let's say this is test image, and click on open. Oh, I need to put some submit button here. I forgot to put the submit button. Okay, let's go back to my index.py and let's create some submit button. That is obviously required here. In order to create the submit button, let me take input. Now the type is submit, and the value I just want to here is upload. Okay, now let's save it. Now rerun your application. Let's go back to my face recognition app. Let me refresh it. That's it. This is what important for me. Now choose the file, and this time I'll choose as test images. Click open and upload. But one thing is that, like, I did not give any connections to the views. What I said is that, like, I said to navigate to this particular URL, and that's the reason we got this hashtag I did not mention anything where you need to go and all. In the next lesson, we will see how to receive the file from the template in views, and from views, we will save that into the models.py. I will see you on that. Until then, happy learning. Hey everyone, welcome back. In the previous lesson, we have seen how to create the forms and display in our index.html. Now what you're going to do is that as soon as if you're going to hit a button in the views.py, need to take that image and save that in our models.py. That is what we're going to do in this case. Let's go to views.py. And views.py, what you have to do is that we need to do small changes here. The first and foremost thing what we need to do is that we need to check whether the request is get or post. If it is a post, which means that user has uploaded some image. So that's the reason. Let's check whether it is a get method or a post method. Now let's mention that if request dot method equal to post, then you're into the loop. Now form equal to, let's take the face recognition form. Inside the braces, we need to set request dot post or none, comma request dot files or none. Okay, then we need to validate our form. A form dot is valid. Once the form is valid, then we need to save the form. Form dot save. And inside that, commit equal to true. That's it. So this is how we need to save our image. What happens in this case is that in the views, we are validating the request whether it is a post or get. Once it is a post, which means that either an image or a file has been uploaded. Once it is uploaded, then we are going to validate the form. If the form is valid, then we are saving that in the database. That's it. This is how, we are going to save any image or any file into our models. Let me save this, and what you're going to do is that let me go to your terminal and run the application. My project is running. Now go back to your browser. I'm in the browser now. Let me refresh this. Okay, now choose the file. This time the file I'm going to choose is test images, and click on open, upload. As soon as if you click on this upload, this goes into the views, and from there the form is get validated, and finally the form is saved. Let me open this Django administration and let's see whether my form is saved or not. For that, go to the same URL, admin dashboard. Now click on this face recognition. Here you can see one more record is created, and click on that. Now you can see that this image has been saved successfully even in my database too. This is how we can save any model from template to models via views. I will see you in the next lecture more on this. Until then, happy learning.